Okay, let's talk about financial freedom. But maybe not in the way you're used to hearing about it. Forget the boring spreadsheets and the lectures for a minute. Let's think of it like a game. And like any game, once you learn the rules, you can learn how to win. So, let's get into it.
And this quote from Cody Sanchez, it pretty much lays out the first rule of the game. You have to understand the playing field. The whole idea of just having one single paycheck, well, it's designed to keep you dependent. Financial freedom, true freedom, is all about breaking that dependency and taking back the controls.
And make no mistake, the stakes are incredibly high. Just look at this number. Nearly half of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And get this, it's not just a problem for people with lower incomes. Even for folks making over 125 grand a year, 20% are spending pretty much every dime they make. That right there, that's the trap we're talking about escaping.
So, what does winning the game actually look like? Well, the financial independence community has let's say, a very blunt term for it. F you money. It's not subtle, but man, is it powerful. This is the point where you've won. It's when your money is doing the work for you, giving you the power to walk away from any job, any boss, any situation that just isn't right. It's your own personal fortress of solitude.
So how do we actually start building that fortress? The journey really begins with getting the fundamentals right. So Section 1 is all about one thing: mastering your own money.
You know, nobody ever plans to fail, but a lot of people just fail to plan. And before you can build anything, you've got to know the lay of the land. That means being brutally honest with yourself about what's coming in and, more importantly, what's going out. You just have to have a crystal clear picture of your financial reality.
And look, getting that picture doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need some insane spreadsheet. A simple guideline like Fidelity's 15-15-5 rule is a fantastic place to start. It's super straightforward. Half your take-home pay goes to essentials, housing, food, the must-haves. Then, and this is non-negotiable, 15% goes straight to retirement savings. 5% builds up that emergency fund for when life happens. And the last 30%? That's for you, for your goals, your wants, the fun stuff.
So what you end up with is a really simple 3-step roadmap. First, know your position. That's your budget. Second, plan your route. Set some actual clear goals for where you want to go. And third, and this is key, set up your bank accounts to make it all automatic. That way, saving and investing just becomes the default. It happens in the background without you even having to think about it.
All right, so once you've got your budget dialed in, it is time to put that money to work. Let's move on to Section 2 and talk about how to start the engine.
So your first big decision here is really about your style. Are you going to be an active investor or a passive one? Think of it this way. Active investing is like being a hands-on race car driver. You're picking stocks, making moves, trying to beat everyone else. Passive investing is more like setting the cruise control. You buy a piece of the whole market and you just let time and growth do their thing.
Now, if you're the kind of person who likes to be hands-on, the active path, well, real estate is a classic example. This isn't just clicking buy on a stock. You're involved, whether you're flipping a house, managing tenants, or even pooling money with friends in a club. The trade-off is pretty simple. Yeah, it's more work, but it also gives you way more control over your investment. But if that sounds like way too much effort, there's the passive side. A really popular strategy here is focusing on dividend stocks. You could go deep and research what they call dividend aristocrats. These are rock-solid companies that have increased their payouts for over 25 years straight. Or to make it even easier, you can just buy an ETF like Noble, which is basically a pre-made basket of these companies. Either way, the goal is exactly the same: create a steady flow of income with very little day-to-day effort. Honestly, whichever path you choose, the absolute most critical part is just to start. Just listen to this person on Reddit who literally went from negative net worth all the way to financial independence. They're telling you straight up, the beginning is the hardest part. But if you stick with it, you get to see the magic of compounding. And trust me, it is very, very real.
Okay, so you're saving, you're investing, things are moving. Now, how do you pour gasoline on the fire? Section 3 is all about hitting the accelerator by stacking up multiple streams of income.
This concept from Cody Sanchez is an absolute game changer. Vertical income, that's your 9 to 5. It's directly tied to your time. You work, you get paid. But horizontal income, that's different. That's income that works for you. You put in the work up front to build something, and it keeps paying you whether you're at your desk or on a beach. This right here is the key to scaling your wealth.
So what does that actually look like? Well, here's a real example. This is the revenue from an online course about how to buy a small business. Just look at those numbers.
almost 10 grand in 2 weeks before it even officially launched. This is literally monetizing knowledge that's already in your head.
Or how about this one, a newsletter? Let's say you build it up to 30,000 subscribers. If just a tiny fraction of them, say 2%, pay $10 a month for premium content, that's an extra $72,000 a year. It's a perfect example of horizontal income. You write the content once, and it keeps making money with every single new subscriber. It's amazing what you can build with the tools we have today.
And this stuff gets way more creative than just courses and newsletters. I mean, the possibilities are kind of wild. Think about it. You can literally buy an Instagram account that already has followers and start selling products to a built-in audience. You can get paid to travel the world by house sitting for people. You can start a whole e-commerce business using dropshipping and never touch a single piece of inventory. The real goal here is just to open your mind and get creative.
Building all these systems is one thing, but having the discipline to see it through, that requires a totally different mindset. So for our final section, let's talk about how this all comes together by playing the long game.
Let's go back to that Reddit user we mentioned earlier. Take a look at these numbers. In 2010, after working for a decade, they were $50,000 in debt. Can you imagine how defeating that must feel? But they didn't quit. They kept budgeting, kept investing, and 15 years later, their net worth is nearly $6 million. That is the insane, almost unbelievable power of patience and compounding interest.
And this is why it all matters. This is the payoff. Here's another person from Reddit. They found out their CEO was committing tax fraud. Now, most people in that situation would feel completely trapped, right? But because he had his FU money, he just went home, talked to his wife, walked in the next morning, and resigned on the spot. That is what real freedom looks like.
Look, getting to that level of freedom isn't about getting lucky or YOLOing into some random investment. It's about making smart, deliberate choices. And that's where diligence comes in. Whether you're buying a stock, a rental property, or starting a side hustle, you have to do your homework. Ask the big questions. Who's in charge here? How do they stack up against the competition? Is this business model even sustainable? This isn't just a boring checklist. It's how you protect the wealth you're working so hard to build.
You know, when you really get down to it, financial freedom isn't about retiring and just sitting on a beach forever. It's about having the power to choose. The freedom to walk away from a toxic job, the freedom to start your own thing, to spend more time with your family, or to do work that actually means something to you. So the real question isn't just how you're going to get there, it's what would you do once you've won the game.